Does Claratyne cause depression in some people? I'm kind of wondering about that right now. If you remember last video, I went and got this and we opened it up, we looked at the little pamphlet and we read out the side effects, and there's nothing in there about anything like depression. But I'm wondering because I took my first one on Friday afternoon and I was pretty perky that day when I made that video, right? But the weekend, I was feeling very unproductive. I don't think I got very much done. I don't even remember what I did. But I took the next one on Sunday morning. And Monday, when I woke up, I was a wreck. I mean, Sunday night, I was starting to feel a bit iffy. Um, you know, I felt like I could go either way, though. I could either be fine or go into a bit of a spiral. But I sort of stabilized. Monday morning, yesterday morning, I was feeling so terrible, like proper full on depression. Every now and then, I have like a day where I feel a bit down, but it was nothing like this. This was like full on sort of depression level non-functioning, and it was awful. And it lasted the whole day. Usually when I have these days where I feel a bit off, I'll get better throughout the day, I'll perk up. But no, it was just all day. I was feeling very down, very low energy. I even had to go back to bed, a second time after second sleep. So I guess third sleep. I had to have a nap. And I couldn't function. I think I watched a whole disc of Buffy because I was just like, what else can I do? I couldn't concentrate. I was feeling awful. And Monday morning, I also took a Claratyne because it hadn't occurred to me that that could be the thing. But this morning I woke up feeling awful again, and I was just really really been feeling kind of depressed, like very down, and it's such a sudden down, and very physical symptoms. So apart from feeling like moody, I was also feeling groggy, had a lot of brain fog. I've really struggled to concentrate, and stay focused and do the things that I need to do. I've also had this sort of feeling of sickness. Like, I don't know how to describe this very well, but when you have a proper cold or a flu-y kind of cold, and you sort of feel this, it's just this feeling of sickness, but without the sniffling, without the coughing, without all those kinds of symptoms, no trouble breathing or anything, but it's that same kind of feeling that would usually go with those symptoms, if that makes any sense at all. Maybe not, but I just felt properly ill, except it's like depression type ill, but with those kinds of physical symptoms. I also took a Panadol and Nurofen, even though I didn't really have a headache, but I sort of felt like I was developing a headache or going to get one. And I think I sort of went in and out of a mild headache. Depression headaches are a bit weird, but yeah, I took that. I didn't take the Claratyne this morning though, because it hasn't really helped my allergy symptoms. Yeah, so I was just like, well, maybe I'll take a day off and see how I go. And I went back to the kids Dimetapp instead because I know that works and I'm fine. And I'm glad I didn't take it this morning because now I'm wondering if this is the problem. But I didn't really think of this until later because I was just like 2 days in a row feeling terrible and not improving throughout the day. So a little bit before 3, I just logged into the booking system for my GP and I went to see the doctor because I thought like, wow, all of a sudden I've just been hit with this terrible, horrible feeling. And I thought, if you remember like my birthday ramble, I think I went through like, I've not been feeling great and, wondering about music and all that kind of stuff. And so last month I was going through some stuff, but then I was fine. And I guess I thought, well, maybe what's happening is I've been suppressing all these negative feelings for a couple of weeks and I've just suddenly had that breakdown. So that's what I thought when I went to the GP, is maybe it's that. Maybe I actually have been heading for depression all this time and it's just because I was trying to push it out of mind. Maybe it was a subconscious thing that's just hit now. But yeah, no, so that's why I went to the doctor and we were talking about it and she said, yeah, they seem like very physical symptoms. And some of you will remember, I think I addressed it in my, melancholic depression and dysthymia video, which I'll put in whatever corner it is. Especially my last episode of depression, I tend to get biological depression, which means you need medications. And my symptoms are very much like that because it's not like I've spent all this time thinking about like, why does so and so not like me, or blah blah blah, like those kinds of normal problems people get. It's not the kind of stuff you can treat with therapy. There were some things I was thinking about to do with my sense of purpose and whatever, but it's not any different to what I've been thinking of other times when I've been fine. So, you know, what's different now? Why am I suddenly crashing? And so the assumption is maybe my biology is just screwed up again. And so I was talking with my doctor, and we're like, well, maybe I need to try meds again. The only problem is I had a lot of med side effects, and I'm sure I made a video about whether or not meds are worth it. I think I addressed some of my side effect problems with that, so I'll link that as well. But yeah, so I'm reluctant to try medications because for some reason I'm very sensitive to side effects. It might be partly the Asian, you know, half Asian descent, because Asian livers process things differently. So maybe that's why I'm not good with antidepressants. I'm also small and female and blah 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 blah. So it's only been 2 days of me feeling really terribly shit. So I said to my doctor, well, look, last time we did this medication thing, the side effects got to a point where I couldn't work because it was just bombarding me. I think medication probably does help me, but the side effects are so bad that I might as well not be on anything. So we decided to hold off. But I also said to her, look, the only thing I can think of, and if we're thinking that this is a biological depression, the only thing I can think of that's changed about my life is the Claratyne. Do you think that could be a thing? And she was very surprised when I mentioned that, but, you know, she's like, given your history and your sensitivities, maybe you should stop taking it. And I was like, well, it's not been helping anyway, so yeah, I just won't take the Claratyne for a bit. We'll see what happens when it comes out of my system. But if it is the Claratyne, that's interesting, because it's not recognized on the little pamphlet, you know, the little sheet that comes in it that tells you, you know, all the things you need to know about the medication. You know, the Loratadine is the active ingredient, and they go through all the little things that you need to know, all the side effects. There's not anything that says depression and, you know, smack you in the face, suddenly you're not able to function level depression. Because like I've been in such a state, you know. It's probably why I haven't done a video for a few days, despite telling myself, well, I'm going to make more videos. Yeah, very interesting if this is a problem, if like this is a real thing, that it hasn't been reported and recognized by the medical community. But my doctor's like, it's possible, you know, with my biology clearly being fucked up, anything is possible. Maybe it is making me depressed. So when I got home, I looked it up, and there are people on the internet reporting that Claratyne and its various, you know, other brand names does seem to have affected their mood. And I don't know what that is, because it's supposed to be an antihistamine, not some kind of psychological drug, but there's something going on there, and maybe I'm not the only one. I know some of you guys, after my last video, were telling me, like, you take Loratadine and it works for you, but for someone like me, maybe it's not a good idea. I don't know, and it's supposed to be one of the milder ones. Like, I tried Zyrtec a while back, and it made me so sleepy, because that's one of those ones that can cause drowsiness. And I was like, fine, I'm expecting that because it gave me that warning. But this one, no warnings about mood issues, and suddenly it's just like, bam, punch in the face. And I just got my glasses there, but I'll try not to hurt myself. Yeah, anyway, and then, I don't know how long this is going to take to find out if this is my problem. You know, like, it says 24-hour effectiveness, so God knows how long that's going to stay in my system. You know, I had that Friday afternoon. Obviously, it's building up a little bit, and then I had more on Sunday morning, and clearly that's been in my system and built up to a point where, well, not clearly, but this is the theory, it's built up to the point where it's affected my mood. And then, you know, had another one on Monday, and that may be why today has been shit as well. But hopefully now that I've stopped taking it, it'll come out of my system in the next few days. And I really hope it does, because it's just been so hard to think. And I've got to drive tomorrow. I've got to go to work, and I have to drive. And if I have this brain fog, I'm a little bit concerned. So I might just, like, depending on how I feel in the morning, I might just have to leave home early and just drive very carefully. I always drive carefully anyway, but, like, even more carefully than normal, because I don't know how much I trust myself. Like, I've made mistakes today as it is, not driving, just in other parts. And yeah, so this will be an interesting thing to find out. We'll see how I go. Hopefully I'll have the energy to vlog how I go with it. But I wonder, can Claratyne cause depression in some of us? And this is another thing that's interesting about that is it basically means I have to be careful about anything I put into my body now, because clearly my body doesn't function the way most people's are expected to. I'm someone who's prone to depression. I react badly to psychological medications. It seems I react badly to other things as well, and it's probably a good thing that I don't drink alcohol or do illegal drugs, because God knows what that would do to me if something seemingly benign like this can fuck me up so much. But right now, I'm able to vlog, and I seem to be have a little bit more energy, so maybe it is already coming out of my system, just not taking it today. So we'll see how I go. Has anyone else had this kind of thing where you've taken maybe Claratyne or maybe some other antihistamine or God knows any other drug that didn't list depression as a side effect, but maybe you started to feel moody? Like, looking this up, I've seen people saying, I was taking this for years, or I know someone who was taking this for years, and they didn't know what it was, but they stopped taking it, and then suddenly they're back to life and all that. And then other people who, they were taking it and then ran out, and they'd been going through this horrible mood swing, and when they ran out, suddenly they're fine. It's a bit hard to say, because on the internet you don't really know how honest people are being. You don't know who any of these people are. You don't know what else is going on in their lives. But there do seem to be people who are joining the dots and thinking maybe this is what's happened to them, and maybe some of us need to be careful. And I also wonder, if some of you have bad hay fever and you've been taking something like this and you're depressed, I just wonder if that might help you guys to look at it and be like, okay, what other, maybe not even taking this, maybe if you're depressed and you're taking something that's not supposed to cause depression, but maybe it's lined up with when you've been depressed. Be hard to know. Don't stop taking anything without talking to your doctor, especially if it's been a long-term thing, especially if it's been prescribed. But it might be interesting to just explore that option. Are there things in my life that could be having an effect that we're not sure about? With antidepressants, when I was on citalopram, I didn't know for years that was ruining my appetite. Everything else seemed fine in my life, and it seemed to be working as an antidepressant. But yeah, the moment I came off it, I started to actually have an appetite again. And then when I went back on it, I couldn't eat anymore. Especially once we increased the dose, I was on hospital formula and so on. And that is when we figured out that it was destroying my appetite. We had no idea for years. So sometimes you can be on something and it can be having an effect on you that you just don't know about. And I think it's because our chemistry, our body chemistry, we're all the same species and so on, but there are these subtle little things that go on. Even with your stomach bacteria, we're finding out that, we all have different bacteria biomes, microbiomes and whatever. And I wonder how that plays a role, and it's just just because a medication works for one person doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. But I gotta stress, if you're on something that's life-saving medication, don't panic. It's just a question to ask, because you've got to weigh up the pros and cons. I realize suddenly maybe I shouldn't have given some people that idea, but on the other hand, if you have been depressed and so on, maybe it's something to consider. I'm just looking at what I wrote on Facebook today to see if there's anything I missed, but because I only saw my doctor last week, and just when I saw that time slot open up, I was like, right, I'm going to go see her, because it has just been 2 days of psychological hell, and I was doing fine until boom. So we'll see if I can get back to some level of stability. I actually hope that this is what's causing my current mood swing, because if it's not this, and if I don't get better, then I have a serious problem, and I have to figure out what the fuck I'm going to do to get better, because I don't want to go on meds again. Therapy didn't work for me. What else are they going to do to me? Shock my brain? There's not many more options for how to treat me if I'm actually becoming depressed. But on the upside, they are biological symptoms rather than me wallowing any more than normal. So maybe there is a biological cause, and I've just got to be more careful. Yeah. No, the only other thing I wrote is like the only way that I'll definitely know if this is what's causing my current depressive mood swing is if I get better in the next few days and then take some more, and if I get depressed again. That's how I'll know. But it's been so horrible the last two days that I don't think I want to try that. You know, someone else can be the guinea pig. I don't want to. Yeah, no, I think that's everything. So I'm gonna see my doctor again next week just to check in and see how I'm going. I really hope I'm feeling better then, because I don't want to have that conversation again about whether or not I need to be on meds. I think I do need to be on meds. We just need to find one that doesn't have side effects, and finding one is the pain in the butt. In the meantime, running on the assumption that I'm experiencing an early depression, because like you don't have depression until you feel like this for 2 weeks, but running on the assumption that I'm heading to a depression diagnosis, I've got the usual things to do. So, you know, sleep, diet, exercise, keeping busy. I used to include helping people, but right now I'm going through another misanthropy swing, no thanks to world events and so on, and me just being grumpy as fuck. But yeah, so sleep. I have to get up at 6:30 because my dog, so I got to try and get to bed around 11ish. Eating, nothing. My diet, there's nothing to change because I have like toast every morning. Lunch varies depending on what I'm doing, and then family dinner. Mum decides whatever we're eating. We had Thai for dinner, so maybe my mood's a little bit better because pad Thai is amazing. And also Thai beef salad, even though it can be spicy, sometimes I actually like it. And I feel so fat right now because I ate so much. Anyway, and then exercise. I try to go for a dog walk every day. I won't go tomorrow because I'll be at work and that's tiring enough as it is. But I try and do a dog walk every day, and so I've got to keep trying to do that. I'm also going to keep doing my stretch routine at night. I'm sure there's a video of me doing that stuff, but I don't know if I can be bothered to find it. And it's probably changed a bit lazier. But I do stretches every night and about 20 sit-ups, or maybe they're more like crunches. I don't know technical terms. And then, well, the keeping busy thing, my doctor's changed to doing an enjoyable activity each day. And because my brain's been so fucked up, especially earlier today, I was just in such a brain fog, I couldn't think. And, you know, when I saw her, oh my God, the moment I walked into her consulting room, I just broke down. It's that level of fucked up that I was. Anyway, so it was hard to think of enjoyable things, but I'm like, well, I've been watching Buffy DVDs pretty much every day, so she's listed that. I should probably try to sing if I have the energy. I could not sing yesterday. Usually when I do my work from home, I'll chuck on some heavy metal and I'll be doing my finance stuff while belting out some metal, but I just did it in silence because I had no energy, no mood for it. That's how fucked up I was. Today I at least listened to music while I was doing some stuff, but so hard to focus and didn't sing. So I need to try and at least do some singing. I should do some more structured singing. But yeah, no. We'll see if I have the energy. YouTube, either watching or making videos. Doing my plants outside, which I still haven't shown you guys that videos I've been working on for that. Oh my God, it's going to be a nightmare figuring that out. But basically getting sunshine each day, going outside, playing with plants. Poetry writing. I haven't done, we're trying to think of things I used to do as well, and I haven't written as much poetry over the last couple years, but try and get into that again maybe. I could do some reading, but it's been hard to find anything, so she's like, why don't you go to the library and ask the librarian? And, you know, maybe that's a sensible thing. It's so hard to concentrate on reading these days. I used to read, I've got the whole Animorphs collection behind those DVDs. But these days I just don't read so much. It's so hard to find things. And when I ask people for recommendations, they're so bad at understanding me. I said, no romance. And what do? You give me fucking romance. But she's like, you know, a librarian's trained. They should be a bit better than that. Maybe I talk to the librarian. Then again, do they even have anything good there? I suppose I have found stuff. Anyway, blah, blah. I should do reading. Drink tea. I drink tea every day. I have Lady Grey tea because I like to think that's me, or at least younger me thought, you know, it's just me with a misspelled name. So I have Lady Grey tea twice a day, although today I had it 3 times. And then in the evening I have chamomile tea in an attempt to calm me the fuck down. So I do that every day. Does that count as my enjoyable activity each day? Painting or craft, she's listed. Although I did explain that painting just stresses me out. I don't understand people who find painting relaxing. All I see are mistakes. And I spend my entire time trying to fix those mistakes. And it's stressful as hell. And like, yeah, at the end, when I stand back and look at it, it's actually okay. But the process is a fucking nightmare for me. I just, that's why I stopped painting, because it just makes me feel bad. Like, yay for a nice painting at the end, but the process is horrible. It's horrible. I don't get it. I just see everything wrong with it and keep fixing it until it doesn't look so horrible, but it's... And I will always see those tiny little flaws, because... And then craft and electronics. Like, you know, I was explaining also, I get bored easily. And then, like, with my past depression, I think one of the ways that I've coped with it is to keep trying new things, thinking maybe this next thing will be the thing that fixes me. And it never is. I learn the skill, I get reasonably good at it, you know, past a beginner level, and then I get bored because it hasn't fixed my life and I don't have a passion for it. So, like, there's so many random little skills that I have, and I just don't give a shit. And I've done so many of those little crafty, electronicsy, whatever things. I've tried so many things that I don't know what to try next. So that coping strategy doesn't really work so well anymore. And also I'm so cynical now because I've done it so many times that I'm just like, well, you know, whatever I try next will just be another ant farm, won't it? So, you know, it's hard to think. It was so hard to remember anything to write on the list. She's like, all right, let's list some things. I'm like, ugh. Anyway, at least I'll be kept busy tomorrow. You know, as long as I make it to my bonsai job, okay. I suppose if I feel really shit, maybe I can ask Mum to drive me instead of trusting myself. But no, hopefully I'll be okay to drive. You know, if it is the Claratyne, then you know, let's just hope it gets out of my system and I can focus tomorrow. Because I really don't want to be depressed again. It's fucking horrible, and it was so hard to get out of the last time, and I can't just fuck off to Japan and do retail therapy because I got COVID now. And COVID's probably not helped my mood, but if I can just get through this little blip. Anyway, so that's what's going on with me. Possibly depressed due to Claratyne, hopefully not depressed due to just being depressed. Hopefully I'll recover. Yeah. I guess I'll load this up and I'll watch some Buffy and hopefully get to bed at a sensible hour. Oh, one more thing. YouTube comments doesn't always work so well, so sometimes you post a comment and then it just disappears and you're like, why? It hasn't landed in my spam folder, I haven't deleted it. It happens to me on my own channel, it happens to me commenting on other stuff, sometimes it happens in YouTube Studio, sometimes it happens in the main YouTube desktop thing. I don't know what that is, but if you're leaving a comment and I don't reply, I try to reply to most stuff, unless you've left me a comment that I just can't think of anything. Yeah, no, if you've written a more meaningful comment and I haven't replied or it's disappeared, it's not because I'm deleting it. You know, usually I will give you some angry warning if you've pissed me off enough that I'm going to delete something. But yeah, no, it's not about things going into spam, it's just some glitch and YouTube doesn't seem to believe me. I've had went on Twitter and was like, do you guys know this is a thing? I've reported it so many times and no one acknowledges it. I was thinking of making a video just to complain about the issue, but now that I'm all, you know, bummed, just like, fuck, I can't be bothered. Anyway, so if anyone's having problems with comments disappearing for no obvious reason, can you report it to YouTube as well, especially if you're a creator, and you know, when you try and reply to a comment in Studio and it does that loading circle and you just lose the comment, and if you haven't done Control-C, it's like you have to type it all up again. Yeah, if you're having that problem, can you get on my side and tell them it's an issue, especially if you're a larger YouTuber, but I don't think any of them are watching me. Anyway, no, I'm gonna fuck off now. So hopefully next time I'll be a bit more cheerful, but if not, if I disappear for a bit, maybe I'm just heaps depressed and can't be bothered. So yeah, I'll be okay. Just that might be what's going on. I'm gonna go. Bye.